welcome. This is my channel and I tell stories of the mysterious, twisted, and paranormal. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you for coming back. And if you are new to the channel, then welcome. And please consider subscribing and turning on your post notifications. But also get ready, because as of now, we're about to go on a journey, and as we do, we're about to slip into a mind that's not our own. So let's go. Now, I'm sure you've heard of things like killer clowns before, but have you ever heard of a killer nurse? Janine Jones, also nicknamed the Angel of Death, worked from early 1981 to March 1982 as a licensed vocational nurse in the Pediatric Intensive Care Unit, the ICU, of Bexar County Hospital in San Antonio, Texas. Now, during this time, dozens and dozens of children in the ICU mysteriously died. And most of them died directly under Jones's direct care. In this epidemic, you could call it, of mysterious deaths, attracted widespread media attention and even left with her colleagues to call that shift the death shift. Now, this incredible, horrible statistic is true, that children were over 10 times as likely to die under her shift than any other time in the ICU. And these children would die in very mysterious ways. And of course, all of it could not be a coincidence. Or could it? For example, previously stable kids suddenly just stopped breathing. Others would have seizures or their hearts would just stop. Some even began bleeding profusely when their blood didn't clot from needle injections. Now, get this. After a while, the hospital actually caught on to this, and doctors actually thought Janine was doing something to these kids. But instead of firing her to avoid bad press, they just decided they were going to remove all licensed vocational nurses and upgrade their hospital with higher tier nurses. Plus, the hospital also refused to fire her or call the cops on her and actually offered her a job doing something else in the hospital. But she refused because now she still had an exemplary record, so she just moved on. I mean, at least in my mind, this hospital, knowing that she could have been part of this, is definitely part to blame in the fact that she went on to go and kill more. And just a little fun fact for you, once she did move out of that hospital, the deaths all of a sudden stopped. Now, the hospital's official report said that this association of Nurse Jones with the deaths of 10 children could be purely coincidental. However, negligence or wrongdoing cannot be excluded. Yep, that's all they gave us. But it didn't matter, right? Because by this point, Jones was long gone. And now, thanks to the strength of her resume and references, Jones easily secured a similar position at a pediatric clinic for children about 60 miles northwest of San Antonio in Kerrville, Texas. And yet, mysterious illnesses and deaths of babies seemed to follow Jones wherever she went, and multiple children suddenly fell ill after receiving what were supposed to be routine injections at her new clinic. Now, this is sad, but Chelsea McLennan, who was a 15-month-old baby, arrived at the clinic for just routine immunization shots. But instead of administering the vaccines, Janine Jones injected the helpless baby 3 different times with succinylcholine, I hope I said that right, which is a muscle relaxant that ended up stopping the baby's heart. And it was finally after this child's death that launched a criminal investigation. And with multiple damning testimonies regarding the string of mysteriously dead children under Jones's care, she was convicted and sentenced to 99 years in prison for McLennan's murder. And then, just a short time later, Janine was charged again, this time for trying to kill a 4-week-old baby named Rolando Santos with a lethal dose of heparin, which is a blood-thinning agent that causes massive bleeding. But thank God that this child survived, and Jones was found guilty of attempted murder and sentenced to serve 60 more years along with her 99-year murder sentence. Now, you would think somebody like this, 99 years plus 60 years plus whatever, they should be definitely locked away until they die, correct? And who knows what her true motives were? Did she really see these children who were suffering and thought she was, quote unquote, what she was called, the angel of death, trying to help them in her own twisted ways? Well, regardless what it is, it's sick. And get this, despite these lengthy sentences, Jones was scheduled to be released in 2018 due to Texas's mandatory release law, which allows inmates to put their good behavior towards the time that they have served. Which, I get it, that can be a good thing sometimes, but you gotta look at it on a case-to-case basis. And for this case, it should have never happened. But thankfully though, Texas prosecutors were determined not to let her go free. I mean, they thought Jones very likely killed many more children than the 2 charges that she was serving time for. But you see, the one problem was that some of the hospital records from Jones's time at Bexar County Hospital may have been destroyed. So to prevent Jones's freedom, local prosecutors worked hard to find evidence for Jones's other suspected killings. And in May 2017, Janine Jones was indicted for the murder of Joshua Sawyer, one of the children who died a mysterious death during her time at Bexar County Hospital ICU. And then the following month, Janine Jones was charged yet again, this time with the murder of Rosemary Vega, who was a 2-year-old child with a congenital heart defect who died of cardiac arrest shortly after Jones administered this intravenous shot. Since then, Jones has been charged with the murder of 3 more children. Richard Ricky Nelson on July 3rd, 1981, Paul Villarreal on September 24th, 1981, and Patrick Zavala on January 17th, 1982. And all of the children were allegedly injected with high doses of muscle relaxers or painkillers. So she had to stand trial for these 5 new murders in 2020. Now, there is an update to this case, because in her new trial, she pleaded guilty to killing 11-month-old Joshua Weeks, who investigators say overdosed on anti-seizure drugs. And the 4 other murder charges were dropped in a plea bargain agreement, although family members were allowed to present impact statements to the court. So Jones got 18 more years in prison, and she could possibly get parole 16 years from now, but at that time she would be 87 years old. So let's hope that she doesn't get it. And of course, a lot of the families are hoping the same thing, that she actually does not make it that long in life. So I guess you could ask, why did Janine do this? Like we said, I mean, she hasn't told us. We can only assume that she did it to feel powerful and important, and maybe like she was placed here by God to do something, or placing herself in the middle of life and death situations somehow made her feel important or made her feel strong. We just don't know. Not to mention, the authorities suspect she may have killed as many as 60 infants and children during her time as a nurse in the 1970s and 1980s. That's 60 babies. Now, if this is true, this would make Janine Jones one of the worst serial killers in American history. Do you have chills right now? Because I do. but thank you for listening to this story. I will be uploading stories 2 to 3 times every week, and now I'm also uploading shorts. So please, if you enjoyed this, just take one moment to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and most importantly, share this video with everybody that you know, or at least one person. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.